Everybody to our call tonight. We're going to be talking about a product and a company that is changing people's lives now globally. And so we're going to, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen here, and I might have to do a slight adjustment because I've been goofing around with it. So let me go out of there, and we're going to go to here. There we go. I can adjust this a little bit, make that fit in there. We should be good to go. Okay, so what we're going to be talking about tonight is actually about what's called the gut microbiome. And a lot of people are starting to hear more and more about it. I've noticed commercials on TV for probiotics. Many of you have heard of probiotics. We're going to try to teach you a little bit more about that than you probably knew, because the bottom line is, these supplements that are out, there's one medication after another about heart disease and diabetes, and the real truth of it is that those things can cause as much harm as they do good, and they don't cure anything. We live in a society where the medical industry is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And so it's about money. And they don't want you to get well, because if you get well, then they can't sell you all their drugs and so on and so forth. So what we're going to talk about tonight is a completely natural thing that's happening in our bodies, but to give you reasons to do a little research on your own, to understand what we're telling you is the absolute truth of what's going on in our bodies, and it's the absolute truth about what you can do about it that will allow your body to do what it's designed to do. So when we're talking about gut health, I thought this was pretty interesting. I've heard of Hippocrates before, many of you probably have as well, but over 2,500 years ago, he said that the common thread in disease processes are a lack of bacterial diversity and a decrease in good bacteria. So this is something that's not new. And if you do a little research, which I'm going to recommend that you do, make sure you Google the gut microbiome. Google the gut microbiome and any possible health condition, good or bad, that you could think about. The link between the gut and the brain, if you'll notice some of the documentation I'm going to show today, notice where it comes from. This ain't, Mike's Wikipedia page. This is from Harvard Health Publishing. And the documentation that you'll see when you Google things about the gut microbiome, it's filled with science, doctors, universities, TED Talk. You go there, you go to YouTube and just put in gut microbiome, and it's almost endless, the amount of information that is available to us. Well, in the last probably 5 to 10 years, you're hearing more about it, but it's all, and a lot of times it's either books that are being sold, or it's a supplementation that's being sold, and it's designed for the main purpose to make money. Now, that being said, I know what those of you that are new think, well, wait a minute, you guys doing this for free? No, there's money involved here as well. The difference is that when you see what the product does and what it has in it, what it contains, what the side effects are, you'll clearly understand that money's the byproduct. The fact that we can get paid by sharing a product with somebody, I don't apologize for. You don't think your doctor gets paid when he prescribes medicine to you? And just so that you know how that works, they're not allowed to make a commission. But the big pharma companies are allowed to entice the doctors to prescribe their medicines, and they pay the money up front. So it's not a commission, but they get upfront money. They're funded to recommend their prescriptions. And I don't know about you, but I have diabetes. I'm insulin dependent, I've had 2 heart attacks, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my story and what this product has done for me here in just a minute. But you need to understand that the side effects of what doctors are doing to us, first of all, is deadly. I actually had a physician in Florida tell me that the number 4 cause of death right now in our day and age is your doctor. It's called misdiagnosis and over-medication. I don't know if you've ever been a victim of that, but when you hear my story, you'll see how it affected me. So please make sure you do your research. I don't want anybody on this program tonight to take my word for anything. I want you to do your own research, because if you know what I know and learning about the gut microbiome and what foods can do for you, you'll, I think, be a lot like me, and that is, even if there wasn't a nickel involved in it, this is what I would be taking as part of my diet for the rest of my life. And so let me get a little bit more in detail with you. I'm going to share now with you a short video. This is from a doctor, and we don't have time to show his whole video, but on some upcoming trainings that we do in the upcoming weeks, I'm going to use more of this material from this doctor, because he presents things in a way that makes it easy to understand. So go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and get this fired up, and it's about 4 or 5 minutes long, so it's pretty brief, but just the impact of the information is amazing.
Here are 2 kinds of nuts. So, what's the difference? On one hand, pistachios are bursting with fiber and minerals and are fantastic for supporting healthy digestion. Almonds also have healthy fats and vitamins, but unlike pistachios, they have a danger that can cancel out those benefits. See, almonds contain an anti-nutrient called lectins. Just like gluten, lectins can seriously mess up digestion and your absorption of critical nutrients.
I know that there's something wrong. They're eating healthier than ever, and yet they're sicker than ever.
And do you think it's stoppable through diet?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Specifically, my research showed that many of the conditions I was treating, weight gain, poor circulation, deteriorating health, heart issues, even mental decline, they were all starting in a place nobody was talking about: the gut. My first hint that our intestinal tracts were far more important than people thought actually came when I was performing heart surgery back in the 1980s. Back then, I used to see a lot of people with plaque blockages in their arteries from years of smoking cigarettes. But usually, when we were bypassing the blockage, the rest of a smoker's arteries were perfectly clean. But as the years went by, I started seeing fewer smokers and more people with diabetes, high insulin levels, and obesity, which, as you may know, are all correlated with poor gut health. When we performed heart surgery on these people, it was far worse than the smokers' arteries. Their arteries were riddled with plaque blockages. We could barely find a blood vessel that was healthy. The surgeries, while successful, became far more difficult. I couldn't believe it. Literally, people who had smoked cigarettes every day of their lives had healthier hearts than people who were suffering from conditions associated with an unhealthy GI tract. So I began dedicating all of my research to learning everything I could about intestinal health. We all knew that poor intestinal health could lead to digestive discomfort, constipation, irritable bowels, and heartburn. But how could a malfunctioning gut lead to problems with your skin, your weight, your energy, your joints, your heart, and even your brain? Back then, nobody was asking the question. But today, thanks to years of research, we finally have the answer. You see, our GI tracts are very long. In fact, if you stretch your intestines out, they'd have more surface area than an entire tennis court. But they're also very thin. The lining of your intestines is actually just 1 cell thick, which is basically the thinnest thing that you can imagine. The gut walls need to be this thin because they act like high-tech sponges, sucking up all the nutrients and vitamins from the food you eat and sending the good stuff throughout your body. What's left over becomes food for your gut bacteria, which we refer to as your microbiome. They grow and make more bacteria, and what you deposit in the toilet as poop is, well, mostly loads of living and dead bacteria. So in short, this is how your gut works. You eat food. Your intestinal walls absorb the good stuff from the food, and what's left over gets eaten by your microbiome, which you then get rid of when you go to the bathroom. And when your gut is healthy, these gut walls do their job great, turning food into energy and getting rid of the poop smoothly and cleanly, like a brand new drain pipe in your bathroom. But here's the problem. Because these gut walls are so thin, they can sometimes tear. And certain things are especially good at causing tears. The worst of these are called lectins. Lectins are sharp, nasty little proteins found in certain kinds of food. Lectins, think back to your bathroom now. Imagine you started flushing sharp nails down the toilet. Maybe you could flush one or two and be okay, but if you flushed handfuls of rusty nails for days or weeks, after a while they would scrape little holes in your pipes. Pretty soon, little bits of dirty water will start leaking out of the pipe into your walls, your floors, even your house's foundation. I know, this sounds pretty gross, but you need to hear it, because unfortunately, our GI tracts can develop leaks in the exact same way. This is what I and a growing number of experts now refer to as leaky gut. Lectins and other bad guys tearing holes in your gut lining, allowing tiny particles of poop to leak out into your bloodstream. And once this happens, you can start to see why leaky gut can cause so many health problems. Once they get into your bloodstream, these dirty particles storm across your entire body, like an invading horde. If these toxins get into your joints, they can cause aches and pain. If they get into your skin, they can cause itchiness, redness, acne, and rashes. If they get into your upper GI tract, they can cause heartburn and indigestion. And do you know the worst part? To your brain, all of these terrible things are perceived as attacks on your body, the same as if you have a virus. So your brain goes on high alert to threat level red to stop these attacks, sending white blood cells to fix the problem, which it can do for a while, but your brain just can't stay on threat level red all day, every day. Pretty soon, the cells that protect your brain from attack start to wear down. And when these glial cells in your brain are strained too hard, they actually cause your brain cells to expire. I probably don't have to tell you what happens when your brain cells stop working. Headaches, brain fog, and losing your mental sharpness are just the first signs of damage. But if these toxins are left to rampage through your body for months or even years, the damage can be far, far worse. If the thought of these health issues keep you up at night,
then you need to learn about
here are two
love life. So there's books out. This was a book that I saw on the Today Show called Gut Renovation. She mentioned how the gut microbiome affects everything from the tip of your head to the bottom of your feet. And again, it's up to you to do the research so that you can see. This book is available on Amazon, and she's very good about talking about more about the gut microbiome and what foods affect it for the good and for the bad. But I want to show you just how widespread this is. This is I actually have a friend that works at the University of Louisville, and he has to do with the dental labs there at the University of Louisville. And so I Googled gut health and oral health, or the gut microbiome. So I'm going to stop, I am going to share. I'm going to pull this video. Here's the actual article. This is right on Google. So look what it says about oral health. So it is affected to your gut. And here's the thing that really intrigued me. So what are the signs? Do oral health and the gut affect each other? The answer is yes. Within the mouth, what are the signs? Well, the number of cavities you have. There's no evidence of gum disease if your gut's balanced right and you don't have bad breath. So obviously, if you have cavities and you have bad breath and you have these things, gum disease, things like that, it has to do with your gut. But this is the part that I really thought was mind-boggling to me, because I have a 2-year-old grandson. Children also display these signs. And when we note the Winchester Dental, in this said that cavities, gum disease, all these things are something that affect your children, and they recommend that parents talk to their doctor about probiotics. Again, when you talk to your doctor about these, they're going to either give you prescriptions or things that won't work. And that other doctor that was in the video, he even talks about how probiotics by themselves never make it through the stomach because stomach acid eats them up before they can get into the intestinal tract. So even young children need to make sure that their guts are in check. I'm very tickled to say that my grandson uses the Daily 3 system. And every day, and that's what was really cool about the research about these products. The European Union is the toughest place on the planet to get any type of health product approved. Matter of fact, lawyers that were hired to get the basis of these products approved told us that if you tried to get orange juice approved right now in the European Union, it probably wouldn't pass. So it's a situation that not only did we pass and we're accepted in the European Union, but it's documented that our product is safe for a newborn infant to consume up to a liter of our product a day, completely safe. Now, I don't recommend letting your child have a liter a day. A couple ounces is really all that's necessary. So it's a situation that, again, you got to get educated. It's up to you to do this. And so I'm going to move this back now to our presentation. And how about breast cancer? Now, what made me look this up is this last week, many of you might have heard of Katie Couric. She used to be with the Today Show. And her husband died of colon cancer, and so she became an advocate for getting awareness for colon cancer and getting checked. Well, she now has breast cancer. And so it made me think, well, I should Google this as well. So I did. And when you Google, let's see if I can get to this somewhat easily, which it looks like it's not going to let me do. That means I'm going to have to I'm going to have to stop my share and come back to sharing it. I'm going to pull this thing up, and then give me just a second. Apologize for these glitches. It's what keeps life fun, right? Okay, so here's the PDF, and this was again, you can see the journals this come from. It's, we're not just talking some goofy little crazy thing on the internet, and there's millions of hits. And this had the opportunity to allow me to download it to a PDF, so that's what I did. But here's what's important. And right at the very beginning of it is that breast cancer is the most frequently diagnosed cancer in women today worldwide. But again, it's linked to the gut. And so as it brings out here, the community of microorganisms that are inhabiting your gastrointestinal tract, the gut microbiota, affects human health through metabolic, neural, and endocrine, which is your glandular system, signaling immune activity. It's through these mechanisms that the gut microbiota appears to influence breast cancer risk, response to treatment, and reoccurrence. And I just learned that myself today because I Googled it. So it's a situation, again, where you owe it to you and your family to be able to figure out what in the world is this gut microbiota thing is all about, so that you can be on the road to helping you and your family through a product like Go Love Life. So our message is one that's very, very simple. Is there one thing that you can do every day to achieve optimal health? Just one thing? And the answer, quite frankly, is yes. It's simply put that there is one thing that's foundational to good health. You only got to do it once a day, every day, and that it's the foundation of optimal gut health. Good health starts with addressing the microenvironment that exists in your digestive system. Where is that? This gut microbiome actually begins at the mouth and ends where it all comes out. And so that is known as the center of good health. So to create this ideal microbiome, it requires good bacteria making it down to the intestinal tract and getting rid of the bad. And it's that balance of having it right in the gut that allows you to see some of the things that you heard in that little video. It affects everything. Your skin, weight, energy, joints, heart, and it's because when you're not taking care of the gut properly, you're going to have leaky gut because of the things everything you and I put in our mouths either is going to have a beneficial response to the gut or a negative. And the foods that I've learned that have these lectins in them that cause the holes in your gut, they're surprising. But there's scientific evidence of when all this started. And that's why I appreciated what that doctor said about back many years ago when he first started, that even when they checked a cigarette smoker, the problems weren't systemic throughout the our arteries. Many of them were clean. But now as time goes by, now smoking's not the big issue for the health anymore. Now it's diabetes and cancer and heart disease, and it's because of an improper gut. So what are the things that are going to help your gut? Now remember, he talked about, and we're going to address it a little bit more, is probiotic, prebiotic, and something he didn't mention yet, which is called postbiotic. And it comes from natural plants. So the Go Love Life program is designed, as I'm going to show you, 3 steps to the program. There's 2 liquid supplements and a powder. But here's what is in them, where it's derived from. It's from natural plants, remote areas of the earth, ancient sources, exotic markets, as well as traditional garden foods is the sources that are best for your gut microbiota. And of course, in the garden, these various types of vegetables, they're really nature's gift of light and color. And the colors and the way light affects these produce affects you and your body. By the way, another thing I learned today, many of you may already know, is that, as an example, tomato is not a vegetable. It's a fruit. And the skin of tomato is high in lectins. And the lectins are those little things that you saw with all the little spines on it that can affect the gut. Sad for me because I really love tomatoes. But another nice thing is that when you're balancing the gut, obviously if you're eating tomatoes every day of your life, it's a problem. But occasionally, it's like he said, if you're throwing a nail through your piping system, occasionally your piping system will probably be able to handle that. It's the everyday bombardment of these lectins. So whole grain breads full of lectins. It's why my grandmother and grandfather didn't eat whole grain breads. They ate traditional white bread, sourdough bread. And we got convinced by commercialism and these people trying to sell their products to us that whole grain is the real answer. Well, now you find out about gluten and you find about all these other things that are harmful now that, after a while, marketing runs its path and people get a little smarter and want to check it out. Then you have superfoods, and these foods are all available in Go Love Life. So noni fruit is a fruit that many people have heard of. Started in 1996. Was actually the company that did that. Was the fastest growing company in the world from 96 to 08. And now the superfruit, the goji berries and the acai and these various mangosteen and moringa, some of these other things that actually became companies. Now that's kind of like that era has moved on. And then we, with Go Love Life, have learned that, all these superfoods are beneficial to the gut, but it's more than that. There's healing herbs and spices. Turmeric is an example. I'd heard and was taking, as you're going to see my Amazon bucket of supplements, turmeric was one of those that I took because it's very good for inflammation. Inflammation is the source of pain in your body. So if you have knee pain, back pain, these different pains, what's causing the pain is inflammation, and turmeric happens to be good for that. Where does the turmeric come from, though? Do you realize there are certain places of the earth that these herbs and spices you're seeing here are more powerful than other parts of the earth? Well, that's where we go get it. We actually go around the globe to source these various products. And then you have other things that you see like here, bulgur wheat, barley, and there's an interesting thing we just learned with the help of one of our members. They had a friend that has celiac disease, and so gluten, which is in barley and bulgur wheat, could affect them, and our label says that our product is gluten-free. I'm like, uh-oh, what's that mean? So we got in touch with the home office, who talked to the science department, and they come back and said, well, that is true. Those things do have But ours isn't the grain that's in our product. It's the grasses and the stem of the plant, which are gluten-free. Only the grain has gluten. So that was kind of fun to learn, and sure made me feel a lot better because I saw that gluten-free thing on there myself. But when you read the ingredients, it says barley, but it's not the grain barley. It's the stem of the plant as well as the grass, and not the grain. So it's gluten-free. Kind of cool. And then, of course, the colors of the food is something that many people are just now starting to learn. I'm pretty privileged in that one of the things I had in my career is I used to sell a very high-end nutritional cooking system. And I learned there that the color of a food is the vitamin. The flavor of your food is the minerals. And to prove that to yourself, you got some piece of food or you got something you get ready to eat and it tastes kind of bland. What do you put on it? Salt. What's salt? It's a mineral. Flavor of your food is the mineral. The color of your food is the vitamin. But look at what we do as Americans. You know that 76% of us don't get enough blue and purple foods? Now that stuff's hardly important, right? Things like breast health, antioxidants, anti-aging, anti-diabetic. Other than that, you get the point. We need these foods. Now, green foods are something that's talked about all the time, but yet 69% of us don't get enough of it. Red foods, 74%. And again, look at the things on that list that it can help you with. I mean, it's a situation where which one of those things do you not want help with? It's kind of like, you get to pick which finger we're going to chop off, which one you want to lose. I don't know about you, I don't want to lose any of them. So these colors of foods are all foods that are contained in Go Love Life. So you're actually, how would you ever have the time or the wherewithal to go gather all these things on your own? It ain't happening. Well, again, here's U.S. food consumption. In the United States, 63% of us, our diets comes from processed foods. And by the way, anything in a box, in a can, especially things in a can, in the United States of America, by law, if it's in a can, it has to be sterile. Sterile food's not healthy. It's not good. That's why if you buy frozen peas, carrots, or green beans and pour them out on the counter, and then take cans of the same, pour them on the counter, one's very, very pale, one's brilliant in color. It's because anything in a can had to be sterilized before it could be put in the can. And then the animal foods. I'm guilty of this one. I'm a carnivore. I used to kid people that, I feed all those plants to the rabbit and I eat the rabbit. Well, it is a situation that's probably caused a lot of my health problems, and didn't learn this stuff till, December last year. And so when I started on the gut, working on my own gut with Go Love Life, I still eat animals, but I get all the vegetables that I need and the benefits of the vegetables in my gut. And how do I know? Wait till you hear what it's done for my gut. And the plant foods, of course, that only 12% of our diet are from the proper source. The other thing that's important is called fermentation. The fermentation of these plants and fruits are also very important. And we've discovered that red light fermentation, which is now a permanent part of a process of Go Love Life, and it's a proprietary thing that we do. So in other words, what that simply means to you is all the steps that's taken with red light fermentation, the nanometers and how long it's done and how it's subjected to, it mathematically be impossible for anybody to come up with all the right percentages of things to copy what we do. But this red light fermentation, it's been found, it actually enhances what's called the polyphenols. Now the polyphenols in your fruits and vegetables are simply what helps the gut have the probiotic and the prebiotic balance so that it works right. And so these polyphenols, they have found when these plants are subjected to red light fermentation, it increases the polyphenols by 25%. That's significant, and it's why the noni fruit that's in Go Love Life, the mangosteen, the turmeric, these things that we subject to the red light fermentation is so much more powerful, and why the results are so amazing with Go Love Life. In actuality, 96 carefully chosen, globally sourced, pure organic ingredients all come together and make up the Go Love Life system. And it's the two Next, it's called the Next because it's the next level of superfoods, and it's Next Detox and Next Balance. And then you have Phytopower, which has makes up the prebiotics, which is pure fibers that you learned a little bit in that doctor's video. Well, there's the one good thing. This is the one thing you can do for yourself that I'm going to tell you, as I heard the CEO of our company say at a lecture I was attending that he was at, when he said, if you are not taking the Daily 3 system, it is detrimental to your health. I want you to think about that. Not taking this program is detrimental to your health, because that's the huge impact this system has for everyone that drinks it. Well, everyone with a gut. And I say that a little fictitiously because I did actually meet a lady that her gut was completely removed. But hopefully that isn't happening to a lot of people out there, right? So here's what the system would cost you. To have the Daily 3 system, it's $185 on the retail. Now, if, as you know, all companies nowadays do what they call a subscription. If you use our subscription, you get over a 20% discount. It goes to $155 when it's on subscription. So when you calculate that out, earlier today I Googled, you can check me on it, Google average cup of coffee in the United States, $4.90 a cup. So just a little over a cup of coffee a day pays for the Go Life system. And I wasn't going off the $155. I was going off the $155 plus the shipping, plus the handling. And in Kentucky, they charge tax on food. So I took the price that it cost me as a subscriber out the door. It's right at $180. And so if you take that, divide it by 30, you'll see it's a little over $5 a day. A cup of coffee is $4.90 a day. I can't use that as my excuse because I don't drink coffee, but you get the point, right? It's pennies a day. What price are you willing to pay to, get rid of being tired, have energy like you've never had before, and not to mention all the other ailments that you've already seen in this little bit of time that your gut affects. So I want to take a second now to introduce you to a friend of ours here on the Go team of Go Love Life. And that's Mr. Billy Barnes. Billy, if you can unmute your mic and step in and tell us a little bit about when you started taking it, and what you feel as it's done for you and your health when it comes to Go Love Life. Billy?
Okay. Yes, my life changed about a year ago. It's exactly September, the third week in September, I was admitted to the hospital for COVID pneumonia. And while I was in the hospital that whole week, that 2 days later, my wife came to the hospital because she was suffering from COVID-19. So they sent her back home, but they kept me there for 7 days. When I got out, first of all, I didn't have no taste, didn't have no smell. I was weak. My oxygen level was real low. I had to get it up a certain level. I could not almost breathe. And then at the same time, I lost a lot of weight. So at that time, I was getting out of the hospital, and when they let me go, I could breathe better. But during that time, from September all the way up to, I say, when I found out about Go Love Life, because I was taking all different kind of vitamins and different kind of medication, and you name every vitamin out there, I was ordering it from eBay, getting it from Walmart, getting it from Amazon, you name it. Every time somebody says something, I get it. What's this stuff? I got it. So I got a lot of vitamins and wheatgrass and all of this. And I'm saying, oh man, it's working a little bit. It's helping, but it's just like I found out, it just goes in your body and it even it'll come out the front or it'll come out the back. So when I heard about Go Love Life, I say one product that can help you with everything in your body that starts from the gut. And I say, why not try it? So when my package came in, I was on the phone with the president of the company. I opened the balance up and I drank a half an ounce. And this tastes so good. So when I drank that, I hung up the phone with him. And I'm gonna tell you this, within 5 minutes, I had energy that I never experienced in my life. I believe the last time I experienced energy like that, I was 12 years old. And it was natural energy. It wasn't no crash and burn energy. So I gave some to my wife. And my wife started drinking it. And it was about 3 o'clock that evening, around about 5 o'clock. She said, "What's wrong with me?" I said, "What you mean, what's wrong with you?" "I'm just ironing up everything in the house." Now, she never did that before, but she was just ironing up everything. I said, "It must be that Go Love Life thing." She said, "Yes, it is." So time went by. We went to the doctor every other week because we had post-COVID, and she has post-COVID. Every other week, or if not every week, we going to see our doctor every week on something. Blood pressure too high, blood pressure too low, heart rate too high, heart rate too low, diabetes, and we don't have diabetes kicking in or whatever. It just, everything, it just messed up our body. So we started drinking Go Love Life. And at the same time, I'll tell you a little bit about my wife. Her hair started coming out like this by the clump, by the balls and everything. She lost a lot of weight. I mean, she was weak. Everything seemed like in her body was deteriorating. And at the same time, we went to the doctor. They gave us, we got some blood work. 3 weeks later, we came back and the doctor looked at our paperwork at the same time. "What are you doing?" I say, "Well, I don't know what we're doing." "What you mean, what are we doing?" He say, this is good, your heart rate is good, your blood pressure is good, your sugar is good, everything is good. Then he says something that to both of us that struck something in our body. He said, "Your kidney and your liver is like a 5-year-old." I said, "What you mean by that?" "Well, it's good like a 5-year-old." So we ain't thought nothing about it since then. Then the next thing he said, now mind you, we've been going to the doctor every other week. He said, "Well, I'll see you in 6 weeks." I said, "Okay." So when we got in the car, we thought about a 5-year-old, that must be Go Love Life. Because I had kidney problem in the past. So now 5-year-old, and then he say, "See you in 6 months." And we haven't been back to the doctor since. As a matter of fact, I had on these glasses and I put on these glasses. It's a habit because I'm used to wearing glasses, but I do not need them. I can see clearly. I have 20/20 vision now. It's that good. So, I'm back to normal. And my wife, as a matter of fact, she lost up to 100 pounds, but she gained some of it back. And she got that. I say this. When she was 18 years old, the shape of an 18-year-old female, when she was 18 years old, and she just like out of this world right now. So that's what Go Love Life has done for me and my wife, and I will continue drinking it for the rest of my life.
Thank you, Billy. Appreciate it. So that's a story there, and they're endless. Most of the people on this call tonight, if you get with them, those that have been using it for any time at all, they all have similar stories. And why? Well, it's because it affects the gut. And the second you affects the gut, it affects whatever's going on wrong in your body. And my story, well, here's everything I was buying from the Amazon subscription programs. Those were $250 a month. So getting rid of that, and I don't do not a one of those things anymore. So I don't have to mention, obviously, at $180 a month for Go Love Life, I'm making $70 a month. So that works for me, for sure. But on this list, and what I bought, I never bought the cheap stuff. I tried to buy the, in my mind, if there's a $10 probiotic, $20 probiotic, and a $50 probiotic, the $50 one must be better. And then you'll read on there, this one's got 20 million active things, this one 50 million. But as you learn, Google it, most of those products that you take don't make it past the stomach acid. So it never makes it to the intestinal tract, which is what's the gut, where the leaks are, where the poop gets into your body and your bloodstream. So it's a waste of money. That's the bottom line. But Jeff Bezos loves you doing it. Well, here's kind of how my story began. November of 2021, it was time for a regular checkup, and I went. When they drew my blood, and then they gave me the results. So this was in November of 2021. You can see there what my range is supposed to be and what the range was of this particular enzyme that was in my liver. Then the other parts of my blood work showed, look at how outrageously they were actually concerned that I either had liver disease or possibly even liver cancer. And so November 23rd of 21. So then on the end of January, 1st of February, the company actually launched in what they call a soft launch program, February 2nd of 2022. That's when I began on Go Love Life. Now, in addition to the things that you see here, here's what the doctor had me on medicine-wise. I was on 2,000 milligrams a day, 1,000 twice a day for metformin, which I always thought was for blood sugar. It is not. I have since found out that what metformin does is designed to protect your vital organs against the problems that diabetes can cause. Carvedilol, I was on 6.25 milligrams of that, and I did that twice a day. Then lisinopril is on 40 milligrams of that, and I did that in the morning. Then the hydrochloroside, I did that once a day in the morning. Prasugrel, I did once in the morning. And then atorvastatin, which is a statin for cholesterol, I was on 80 milligrams of that every night. Now, since I went back to the doctor, oh, by the way, my insulin levels. I was taking R 2 to 3 times a day, up to 20 units each time, and then N at night, usually 20 units for that. So I went all the way up to 80 units a day, no problem, of various types of insulin. And then on January 31st, like I said, I started on the daily 3 system with Go Live Life. Now, look what happened. On May 2nd, I went back into the doctor for a checkup. And the reason I had to go to the checkup was because I almost died. What happened is, you know, with being a diabetic and having 2 heart attacks, I'm supposed to check my blood pressure every day, multiple times, 2 to 3 times. I'm supposed to check my blood sugar 3 to 4 times a day. And then take insulin in accordance to what my blood sugar was. Well, I was always pretty good about doing both first thing in the morning. But as I've been told, I'm a little bit of a workaholic. Sometimes I even forget to eat. And I'd go the whole day not checking anything. And then when I come home and I work late hours, sometimes I come home 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Check my blood sugar, check my blood pressure. It was really high. And so then I took all the things that I've already explained to you. But I missed taking insulin 2, 3 times a day. I usually got twice, once in the morning, once in the evening. Well, this is not the way you want to find out the Go Love Life is working for you. I come to my office one day and I'm like, normally I take my 20 units of insulin, I go, I might not even eat like I said that day. And then when I get home at night, my blood sugar would be back up 220, 250, maybe as high as 300. And so then my wife, did you eat? No, I didn't eat. And you're supposed to eat something every 2 hours as a diabetic. So it was really bad. But I didn't change anything except for I was doing Go Love Life. Well, I took my 20 units. I went to the office. Normally, I might not eat at all. And by the time I got to the office, which is a 15, 20-minute ride, my brain was shut down. I couldn't even talk. My daughter was on the phone with me, and she says, "What is wrong with you?" "Dad, I'm coming to the office right now." She hung up and was headed to my office. Lady that worked there happened to have some medical training, and she said, "Mike, I'm calling 911," which she did. Paramedics got there, and my blood sugar was 34. At 40, you can die. It was 34. So they take me to the emergency room, you know, get me to do sugar. They're giving me some slimy stuff that was glucose, trying to get my sugar to come back up. Wouldn't let me leave till they got everything checked out. I did an EKG, did all that stuff. They said, "Look, you get back to that doctor and you make sure you get an appointment with an endocrinologist because they'll help you with this diabetes thing." Bottom line is my body was doing what it's supposed to do because my gut was getting better. I went about doing everything the way I was used to doing it, popping pills and taking insulin and not checking the way that I should. Bottom line, I was taking insulin when my blood sugar was fine. I didn't need to take it. You want to find out what I went through? If you don't have diabetes, you don't have blood sugar, take 10, 15 units of insulin, watch what happens to you. I'm being facetious, obviously. You don't want to die to find out something's working for you. So this is the time I'm going to tell you. Make sure you're doing Go Love Life. If you have any of these issues in your world, to be checking with your doctor regularly. I would recommend that you go get blood work as you're starting the program so you know what your numbers are. And then every couple of weeks or at least once a month, get it checked. Because it was 3 months from the time I started that these things were happening. But it doesn't mean that I was getting better along the way, and had I been checking myself, I would have known not to do these things. Yeah, because the same thing happened to me with blood pressure. My blood pressure, I was so dizzy for 2 days in a row. I mean, I always had that thing, you bend over and pick some up, and you stand up, you do a little whoa moment. I know blood pressure medicine did that, but no. I was dizzy, sick dizzy for 2 days in a row. Guess what? My blood pressure is normal. I'm popping blood pressure pills. So it's a situation where you want to do these things with your doctor knowing about it. So here's what the bottom line of the doctor said. Saw what my liver enzymes were. They said completely back to normal. At this particular visit, they reduced my Lipitor from 40 to 20. That hydrochloroside, I didn't have to take any more at all. The carvedilol, they cut down to, I think the minimum now is 3 or 3.2 or something like that. And I do that one twice a day. The atorvastatin for the cholesterol is now 1 at 20 milligrams, and it was up to 80, and then 40, and then 20. So now they've cut out the lisinopril, which is Lipitor. I don't take it anymore at all. So I've went from 5 medications to 3 medications. Insulin now, I check, so I don't take any insulin at all unless I check my blood sugar. Learned that lesson. And I've gone as many as 2 days, didn't have to take any insulin at all. But on a bad day, which means that I might hit 180 when I test it, then I take between 8 and 10 units because I know what'll happen if I overdo it. And I usually only take the slow-acting one now that's really designed for when you go to sleep, because that fast-acting, I don't take any chances with it. So I just do the slow-acting, 8 to 10, maybe 12 units a day. So big change from 80. My health has changed. I was 243 pounds when I started on the Go Love Life program. I'm at 210 now. So all this as a result of taking 2 sips and a scoop every day. I don't miss no matter what. And it's changed my life. So the thing we brought up before is there one thing you can do? And yes, there is. And this is an article that I was telling you about, how doctors are paid by Big Pharma. Not commission, that's against the law, but they're paid. So if they can get paid, you don't mind paying them to give you something that might kill you and is not going to get you well. It covers over symptoms. That's all those drugs are designed to do. And it's okay for them to get paid. Why shouldn't it be okay for me to have my life changed by a product and then share it with other people, and the company send me a little thank you check for sharing it? Have you ever been to a good movie or a good restaurant, told somebody else about it? That's all I do. And the difference is, what if that movie house or that restaurant sent you $2 or $3 because your friend came and tried it? You think you'd tell more people? That's all it is. That's all it's about. Now, here's the real reason, in the very beginning, I got involved with this company, is these 3 guys right here. I worked with them in a past company for 20 years. When I heard they were starting another company that had to do with a health product, I trust these 3 men implicitly in their business decisions and the way they treat business and the way they treat us members that work with the company, and they're the reason. Now, Kelly Olson there on your far left, he was actually one of the 5 originally founders of that company I worked with. Sean Whitney in the middle, he was a president, and Cody Day there on the right, he also was a president of Asia, and the 3 of them built a global company, and it was very, very successful. And what happened to that company? Well, the other 4 founders, the one that was really the money behind it all, he sold it out for under them, gave them less than 1 hour notice. So that's when they decided, okay, well, there's plants out there that'll help people. We're going to go find out and learn about what it was. And they spent almost a year and a half just doing research and getting with scientists that they'd met and known from the past and put this company together. These 5 people are all co-founders, and they worked with the 3 founders for over 20 years with that other company. And so again, you're looking at over 20 years experience. This is in working together. And so it's like I tell people, look, I know this is an experiment. This company now is in over 20 countries around the earth, and it's only 7 months in the making. So obviously, what does that? Because they got a good pitch? No. A good pitch ain't going to cause a company to be in 24 countries. And the people that you're on this call with tonight getting results, some of them 1, 2 days. You heard Billy, a day, that right after taking it, he felt his gut doing something and helping him. And, you know, I was 3 months, it was helping me more than I knew. But I've just never been a health nut kind of guy, you know. My wife's always been into fitness and exercise and all that. And my idea of exercise was to fill the bathtub with water, pull the plug, and fight the current. Not a fitness guy, you know. So I didn't realize all these changes were happening. I realize them now. Definitely changed the way I view health, especially after that last heart attack that I had. That I was actually dead for 6 minutes. Had there not been an emergency room doctor from the VA a few feet behind me at the Louisville airport, he's the one that told me I was dead 6 minutes. So it's a situation, things like that happen to you. You look at things a little differently. So yes, the Daily 3 products is the secret. How do you take it? Any way you want. You can do 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. The point is get all 3 of them in you. There's some people like to put them in smoothies. There's some people like to add orange juice or any kind of pineapple, whatever kind of juice you want. Doesn't matter. Point is, get it in your body. When you get it in you, it'll help you. So I already talked to you a little bit about the price and how that works, but these are points. So as an example, if you are a member with our company and a friend of yours says, I don't want to do that subscription thing. Okay, they're going to get paid they're going to pay $185 for it. Well, you're on subscription, so your price is $155. They're going to send you the $30. They don't even keep it. They send that to you because you're the one that told somebody else about it. Now, the $155 is this 3-pack, as we call our Daily 3 system, is worth 130 points in this company, and that's what the commissions are paid on. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about that now, but I do want to let you know that who invited you here tonight, hopefully you got a flyer, you got an email, you got something that gave you the meeting ID number and the password Gut Health in order to get here tonight. We'll save it because tomorrow night at 8:30 we're going to do a training. And in the training we're going to talk a little bit more of the science behind the product. We're going to talk a little bit more how you can make money. And you know, let me tell you what our goal as a team. We want to help everybody to make at least enough money that they can pay for their product. So it's not, you know, technically it's free, and a little more. What are you going to do the way inflation's going, the way gasoline prices are? We have people on this call right now from Jamaica. You want to talk about inflation? They almost can't handle the inflation that's happening to them. You know, this is a situation where full-time job, you work to pay your bills. This is part-time. This is part-time. 5-10 hours a week maybe that you put into it, and it helps you build your fortune. So my full-time business pays my bills. My part-time business helps create my fortune. We'd like for you to learn how to do that too, and we're going to teach you how to do it tomorrow night. Thank you so much for your time, for being here. Care about every one of you, and we look forward to helping each and every one of you go love life.